Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty amazing. A system that's like this finely tuned orchestra inside the body, conducting a symphony of creation every single month. Yeah, we're talking about the female reproductive system.
So, what exactly is this incredible journey? Well, it's this monthly cycle of potential, of renewal, and it's all centered around the voyage of just a single cell. And you know what? Forget a boring textbook lecture. Let's actually follow that cell's path right from the very start.
So at its very heart, this whole system is really built for one profound purpose: creating and nurturing new life. Every single hormone, every organ, every little process we're about to talk about, it's all a piece of this incredibly intricate design.
Okay, so the official definition is pretty straightforward, right? It's the internal and external sex organs that work together for reproduction. But what's really fascinating to me is how they all coordinate. They act like this single, unified team with just one mission. I like to think of it like a three-act play. You've got Act 1, preparing an egg cell for its starring role. Then comes Act 2, setting the perfect stage for that egg to maybe meet a sperm cell. And then, the potential finale, Act 3, providing this safe, nourishing home for 9 months, but only if fertilization happens.
All right, so every story needs a hero, right? And this journey starts with the protagonist of our story, the egg cell. Its whole adventure begins inside a pair of small, but believe me, incredibly powerful organs.
So these are the ovaries, and they have this really critical dual role. It's not just about producing the eggs. They're also releasing the hormones that basically run the entire monthly show. And get this, a person is born with all the eggs they will ever have. We're talking over 1 million of them. That makes the ovaries this kind of lifetime reservoir of potential. They're the true command center for this whole operation.
And that brings us to ovulation. You can think of it as the starting gun. Boom! Once a month, an ovary releases a mature egg, and that single event kicks off this whole cascade of activity all through the system.
Okay, so the egg is released. Now, it doesn't just float around aimlessly. No way. It immediately starts on this carefully guided journey, heading straight for the uterus. The egg is officially on the move.
So, right after it's released, the egg gets swept into what's called the fallopian tube. But here's the cool part. It's not just a passive passenger floating along. It's actively guided by millions of tiny hair-like things called cilia. They're constantly waving, gently pushing it along towards its final destination, the uterus.
And this fallopian tube, it's so much more than just a hallway. You could call it the designated meeting place, because if fertilization is going to happen, this is usually where it goes down. And it has to happen within a really specific window of time.
So, after its trip through the fallopian tube, the egg finally arrives at the uterus. And it's here that its story can go one of two very, very different ways. It all comes down to one single event.
Now, for the last few weeks, the uterus has been getting ready for this exact moment. It's been busy building up this rich, nutrient-packed lining. It's called the endometrium. And this lining is absolutely crucial because it creates the perfect, cozy, nourishing environment for a fertilized egg to implant and start to grow.
And this is it. This is the fork in the road for our monthly story. If the egg was fertilized, it snuggles in and implants into that uterine wall, and a whole new journey, pregnancy, begins. But if not, well, the body is super smart. It recycles its resources. That lining is shed during menstruation, which marks the end of one cycle and the immediate beginning of the next. Now, of course, this whole internal system is connected to the outside, to the external anatomy, which is known as the vulva. And every part here has a really specific job, you know? From the protective folds of the labia to the clitoris, which is so central to sexual arousal, all together they form this one complete system that's essential for both reproduction and sexual health.
Okay, so understanding all this anatomy is great, but let's bring it back to everyday health. Because this system is so dynamic, always changing, it's really not surprising that sometimes that delicate balance can get, well, a little disrupted. 75%. What's that about? Well, according to the CDC, that's the percentage of adult women who will get at least one yeast infection in their lifetime. That's 3 out of 4. So yeah, this is an incredibly common and really relevant topic.
And here's something important to know. A yeast infection usually isn't about hygiene. It's all about balance. See, the vagina naturally maintains a specific acidic pH that keeps all the microbes in check. But when something disrupts that balance, and it could be anything from hormonal changes to certain medications, a fungus that's normally totally harmless
can suddenly overgrow, and that's what leads to an infection.
So when you really stop and think about it, this is so much more than just biology, isn't it? It's this constant monthly cycle of renewal, of potential. It's a system designed to prepare for new life, over and over again, month after month. It just shows you this incredible built-in drive for continuation. Honestly, it's a true marvel of the human body.